Have you ever wondered why your legs feel weaker, even though you're doing everything right? You eat well, you stay active, you follow the advice you've been given, and yet stairs feel steeper. Getting up from a chair takes more effort. Walking feels heavier than it used to. Most people think, well, that's just aging. But what if that's only part of the story? The truth is, there may be something else going on, something quieter, something most people overlook. It's not always about what you're not doing. Sometimes it's about what you're already doing, without realizing the impact. Many older adults unknowingly make the same small mistake every day. They do it confidently, even proudly, believing it's the healthy choice. Why? Because we've been told all our lives that fruits are good. They're natural. They're part of a healthy diet. And yes, many fruits are good, but not all of them are good for everyone, especially after the age of 60. You see, as we get older, our bodies change. Our circulation slows. Our joints become more sensitive. Our metabolism doesn't process food the way it used to. And foods that once gave us energy can now begin to work against us, gradually, silently, without warning. Some fruits, the ones we eat every week without thinking, can contribute to joint discomfort, muscle weakness, inflammation, and poor circulation in the legs. And the effects don't show up immediately. They build over time until one day you feel a sharp ache in your calves after a short walk, a heavy tiredness in your thighs, or a strange stiffness in your knees, even if you haven't been very active. That's why today we're going to talk about 7 fruits that may quietly be weakening your legs. These aren't exotic or rare. They're common, often praised for their benefits, but for aging bodies, they may not be as helpful as they seem. And at the end, I'll also share what you can eat instead. Fruits that support strong legs, reduce joint pain, and improve circulation as we age. Let's start with the first one, a fruit often seen as a healing food, but which may actually aggravate the very problems it's supposed to help. Let's talk about pineapple. Pineapple, it's tropical, juicy, refreshing. For many years, it's been praised for its anti-inflammatory properties, thanks to an enzyme called bromelain. You'll find it recommended in smoothies, health articles, and wellness plans. But for people over 60, the picture is more complicated. You see, pineapple is high in natural sugars and strong acids, and that combination can quietly cause problems for aging legs and joints, especially when eaten frequently. Here's what happens. After 60, our blood vessels become more delicate. They don't respond to sugar spikes as easily as they once did. Pineapple, despite being natural, raises blood sugar levels quickly. That sugar surge damages the tiny blood vessels in your lower legs, the ones responsible for delivering oxygen to your muscles and joints. When those vessels are under pressure, circulation drops. And when circulation drops, your legs begin to suffer. You may feel fatigue after a short walk, a heavy sensation in your calves, or aching knees at the end of the day. Some even experience swelling around the ankles, even when they've barely moved. There's another issue, the acid. Pineapple is more acidic than most people realize. For someone with existing joint inflammation or arthritis, that acid can worsen symptoms. It's like pouring more heat onto an already burning fire. That burning sensation in your knees or ankles after meals, it may not be coincidence. And if you're taking medication, especially blood thinners, bromelain can interact with them. It may change how strong the medication becomes in your system. For some, it reduces the effect. For others, it intensifies it. But here's the most difficult part. Pineapple doesn't cause instant discomfort. You might not feel anything right away. There's no sharp pain, no obvious red flag. The effect is slow, subtle, easy to miss, until it builds into something harder to ignore. Many older adults believe they're helping themselves by eating pineapple regularly, but for some, it may quietly be contributing to that slow decline in strength and stability. Now, that doesn't mean you need to eliminate pineapple forever, but if you've been struggling with persistent leg pain, swelling, or unexplained fatigue, it may be worth taking a break and observing how your body responds. And if pineapple, a fruit known for reducing inflammation, can have that kind of effect, what about something even more common, something praised for supporting muscle function? Let's talk about bananas, the second fruit on our list. Bananas are soft, sweet, convenient. They're often called the perfect fruit. High in potassium, good for energy, and helpful for preventing cramps. But that reputation, while partly true, doesn't always tell the full story, especially for older adults. Let's look closer. Bananas are rich in fast-digesting carbohydrates and natural sugars. When you eat one, your blood sugar rises quickly. For someone under 30 with a fast metabolism, that's not a problem. But after 60, the body processes sugar differently. It becomes more resistant to insulin. That means sugar stays in your blood longer, doing quiet damage along the way. For your legs, this has real consequences. Poor blood sugar control leads to increased inflammation, especially in areas of the body with slower circulation, like your calves, knees, and ankles. That's where you may feel stiffness after meals, a dragging sensation when walking upstairs, or tightness in your lower legs by the afternoon. And it doesn't stop there. Bananas can also cause water retention in some older adults, especially those dealing with heart or kidney issues. That retention puts extra pressure on your joints and contributes to swollen feet, ankles, and stiffness that won't go away. You might not notice it right after eating, but if you eat bananas daily, thinking they're good for your muscles, you could be slowly reducing your mobility without even realizing it. That's what makes them so tricky. They don't look harmful. They feel like they're doing good, and in small amounts for some people they are. But for others, particularly those with circulation issues or chronic inflammation, bananas may be part of what's holding you back from feeling better. And if bananas, a food associated with strength, can quietly drain energy from your legs, what about a fruit even smaller, sweeter, and easier to overeat? Let's move to the third fruit on our list, grapes. They're small, juicy, easy to snack on, but what many people don't know is how grapes may contribute to chronic inflammation, joint pain, and discomfort in aging legs. Grapes seem innocent, small, refreshing, easy to eat without thinking. They're often praised for their antioxidant content and cardiovascular benefits. But for older adults, grapes can carry hidden risks, especially when eaten in large amounts or frequently. The main issue lies in a sugar called fructose, the primary sugar found in grapes. Unlike glucose, which is used by your cells for energy, fructose is processed almost entirely by the liver. When you consume too much of it, even from natural sources like grapes, your liver can convert it into fat and uric acid. And here's the problem. Uric acid doesn't just stay in the liver. It moves through your bloodstream and settles in your joints, particularly your toes, ankles, knees, and hips. That's where the trouble starts. You may begin to notice a burning feeling in your big toe at night, a tight sensation in your calves during a walk, swelling around the ankles that lingers. These aren't random. They could be signs of uric acid buildup triggered by excess fructose, often from foods we assume are healthy. Grapes are easy to overeat. A few here, a few there, and suddenly you've eaten 2 or 3 cups. That's a lot of sugar in one sitting. It can silently fuel inflammation and disrupt circulation to the very areas we rely on to move, balance, and stand tall. Even worse, the small size of grapes gives the illusion that they're light and harmless, but your body doesn't measure food by size. it reacts to what's inside. So if you've been eating grapes regularly and experiencing discomfort in your legs, joints, or feet, it might be time to cut back and observe how your body responds. And grapes aren't the only hydrating fruit that can work against you. There's one more that's incredibly popular, especially in summer, and often considered the ultimate thirst quencher. Let's talk about watermelon, fruit number 4 on our list. Watermelon is light, juicy, and full of water. It's often seen as the perfect snack for hydration. But for older adults, this refreshing fruit can hide a silent danger, one that affects blood sugar, circulation, and leg health more than most people realize. The main issue with watermelon isn't its water content, it's its glycemic index. Watermelon ranks high, meaning it raises your blood sugar quickly after you eat it. And just like with bananas and grapes, that quick sugar spike can be a problem for aging bodies. When blood sugar rises fast, the body releases insulin to bring it back down. But after 60, that response becomes slower, less efficient. The result? Repeated sugar spikes lead to more inflammation, more joint irritation, and less oxygen delivered to your muscles, especially in your legs. You might feel it as a dull heaviness in your thighs after eating, a stiffness in the knees when climbing stairs, or even a strange swelling in the ankles after what should have been a relaxing afternoon. The strange part? You think you're just eating water, but your body is reacting as if you've had a spoonful of sugar. And there's more. Because watermelon is light, most people don't stop at one slice. You eat 2, maybe 3, because it doesn't feel like much. But that adds up. More sugar, more pressure on your insulin response, more strain on your joints. The sweetness might feel innocent, but over time the stress on your circulation builds, and your legs begin to show it, not with loud symptoms, but with quiet discomfort, more stiffness, slower movement, longer recovery. So the question becomes, is watermelon really helping you stay hydrated, or is it quietly making movement more difficult? Let's now move to fruit number 5, another common favorite, often found in breakfast spreads and health drinks, but it hides a surprising amount of acid, which for older joints can be a daily challenge. Let's talk about oranges. Oranges, bright, fragrant, and known for their vitamin C content. They're often seen as a symbol of health, immunity, and freshness. Orange juice in the morning, slices with lunch. It's a habit many of us have had for decades. But after 60, oranges may not be as harmless as they appear. The concern lies in their citrus acid. Oranges contain high levels of citric acid, which can irritate sensitive tissues in the joints, especially if you're already dealing with inflammation or arthritis. For younger people, that acid is usually handled without much issue. But with aging joints and slower tissue repair, citric acid can quietly fan the flames of joint irritation. The result? You wake up with stiff knees. You feel a tightness in your hips after sitting. Maybe your ankles ache more after even light walking. These aren't always symptoms of just getting older. Sometimes they're responses to what you're eating, and oranges may be playing a part. There's also the sugar factor. Many people drink orange juice daily, thinking it's a healthy habit. But most juice, even if it's 100% pure, lacks the fiber that slows sugar absorption. That means the natural sugar hits your bloodstream fast, triggering the same inflammation pathways we've discussed with other fruits. So you're not just adding acidity, you're adding a sugar spike too. For some older adults, this combination creates a cycle of inflammation that builds slowly. You won't feel it immediately, but day by day, the tissues around your knees, ankles, and calves become more reactive, more sensitive to pressure, movement, or weight. And the toughest part? Most people drink or eat oranges because they genuinely believe they're doing something good. That's what makes it so difficult to detect. But once you become aware, you can start to make better choices for your joints, your legs, and your comfort. Let's move on to fruit number 6, a fruit that's often seen as cleaner, sharper, and less sugary than most. Many believe it's the safer option. Let's take a closer look at green apples. Green apples, crisp, slightly sour, and often considered the healthier choice compared to their red counterparts. Lower in sugar, high in fiber, and often recommended as a clean snack. But for seniors, especially those with sensitive joints or digestion, green apples can carry hidden risks. Let's start with malic acid, the compound responsible for that sharp, tart taste. While malic acid can have benefits for younger individuals, in older adults it can irritate the stomach lining and, more importantly, the soft tissues around the joints. After 60, the body becomes more reactive. The gut lining thins, inflammation becomes harder to control, and malic acid can quietly worsen that internal sensitivity. Many older adults who frequently eat green apples report a strange warmth in their feet, a heaviness in the knees, or a tight aching in the hips. These sensations often appear hours later, and so they're rarely connected to the fruit itself. But over time, the acid builds, and so does the discomfort. The second problem? Hidden sugar. Yes, green apples taste less sweet, but they still contain natural sugars, and when combined with their acidic nature, this can lead to blood sugar swings in aging bodies with slower metabolism. That might show up as early morning stiffness, cramps at night, weakness in the legs after even a short walk. And here's something else. Apples are often eaten raw, on an empty stomach, or even as a bedtime snack. That means their sugars and acids hit your system quickly and without much resistance. If your digestion is already sluggish, this combination can be even harder on your body. So while green apples look like a clean, healthy snack, for some people over 60, they might be contributing to that quiet discomfort that's been hard to explain. Now let's turn to the 7th and final fruit on our list. It's beloved, soft, juicy, and feels like a natural dessert. But for aging joints, it might be the most dangerous of all. Let's talk about mango. Mango, sweet, soft, rich in flavor. It's often considered a natural treat, especially in warmer seasons, full of vitamins, high in fiber, and deeply satisfying. But behind that tropical charm hides one of the highest natural sugar contents of any common fruit. And for those over 60, that sugar rush can carry consequences, especially for your joints and circulation. Here's what happens. When you eat mango, your blood sugar spikes rapidly. That spike is followed by a crash, and with each rise and fall, the body produces inflammatory compounds in response. Over time, that inflammation begins to settle in the joints, especially in the lower body where circulation is naturally slower in aging adults. You might start to notice tingling in your toes, swelling in the feet during the evening, a burning sensation in your knees or hips when you sit too long. These signs don't always feel severe at first, but when they keep coming back, it's time to look closer at what you're eating. Mango is also easy to overeat. It feels light, so one slice becomes 2, then 3. But the body doesn't measure food by how heavy it feels. It responds to the sugar, the acids, the chemistry inside. For older adults with joint sensitivity, even small servings of mango can trigger discomfort that accumulates over time. Add in existing issues like nerve pain, arthritis, or reduced circulation, and mango becomes less of a treat and more of a trigger. So, where does this leave us? We've gone through 7 fruits that, despite their reputations, can quietly weaken the legs, irritate joints, and reduce mobility over time for people over 60. But that doesn't mean fruit should be feared or avoided. The key is making better choices. Instead of pineapple or mango, choose berries like blueberries, raspberries, or blackberries. They're low in sugar, high in antioxidants, and known for reducing inflammation. Instead of grapes or bananas, go for cherries in moderation. They can help lower uric acid and soothe sore joints. And don't forget avocado. Yes, it's technically a fruit. Rich in healthy fats, it supports joint health, reduces inflammation, and keeps energy stable without spiking blood sugar. Papaya is another gentle option, soft on digestion, full of enzymes that help calm inflammation from the inside out. Pears, eaten with a bit of protein or fiber, offer gentle sweetness without overwhelming your system, and they're kind to aging circulation. These are not just replacements, they're tools, gentle, effective, supportive of strength, balance, and clarity. Now, a final word for you, the one who's made it this far, who clearly cares about their health, their independence, and their future. It's not too late. You are not stuck with how things are. You can change your habits, one small step at a time. One meal, one fruit, one mindful choice. Aging doesn't mean surrender. It means adapting, wisely, intentionally, with awareness. So take what you've learned today and look at your plate with new eyes. Your next step can be firmer. Your next morning can be lighter. Your next year can feel freer. If you simply begin to choose foods that work with your body, not against it. And if this helped you, remember, you're not alone. Many people never hear this message. Share it with someone you care about. And as always, take care of your legs. They carry your independence. Treat them with the respect they've earned.